Good day, lords and ladies, and welcome to a first look at Warbanners by Christine Games. This game has been donated to me as a review copy from the developers, who are very nice people. So just a bit of a disclaimer, this may influence my opinion, but this is just a first look and a general review of the game. I do suggest you read the manual because the game is challenging, not going to lie. It's basically, if you've played Battle Brothers, if you've seen my Battle Brothers series, if you've seen my Age of Fear series, this game is similar to those kind of games. It's a hexagonal tactical based game. You have a whole load of modifiers, night and day, potions, mercenaries, army camp. We'll get into it when we're in like world map. We'll get into it. I'm not going to lie, this game is hard. I mean, proper brutally hard. You can play on easy, which is less enemies, 20% more gold for completing missions. Recommend for players new to the genre. Man, I'm not joking. Literally, I'm quite like experienced with the genre, and I still would recommend that you play it on easy. This game is not forgiving in the slightest. It's very hard, very challenging. The modifiers really do hit you a lot.
It's been 500 years since the necromancers started the Great War. Every city, every village, every farm was drowned in fire and blood. But the people survived. They won. By the grace of the gods and the power of steel, the undead were banished from the lands of the living, and the necromancers were destroyed. Legend preserves the name of the hero who rose up to unite all the kingdoms in the face of the ruthless enemy, Svenfeld. The events of the distant past live on, thanks to the gray-bearded storyteller.
Master Pringus, the innkeeper, I did like those. This is all like home done artwork. So this is basically one individual who's basically made this game, which is really cool. Master Pringus, the innkeeper, was busy himself shouting at the helpless maid. His tavern, squatted in a wretched village on the banks of the river Zafari, was rarely busy. This afternoon was an exception. A company of stern-looking men spread across two tables. Their crude weapons were propped in the darkest, dustiest corner of the main room. Get a move on, Sealer. Mugs won't fill themselves. Master Pringus went out of the ports for some air. Sealer could manage. The arrow seemed to whistle out of thin air. It pierced his throat. Silence reigned for a few seconds. It was shattered by Sealer's shriek. The shrill sound roused the drinking men from their lethargy. They tumbled over each other to reach their weapons, cursing amidst the overturned furniture. A young man in plate armour was the first to find his weapon. He charged out of the tavern, brandishing his long sword. Right, here's the game map. Here are our characters. We're playing Roderick. Here are the basic controls. I won't go through them all now because this game is very there's a lot of complex mechanics in it, so unless you familiarise with it in detail and read the handbook, I can only give you the barest overview of what you can basically do. So this is basically the movement screen. Shaded hex is movable to. The number refers to the number of action points the unit will have after moving. The colour of the number means red unit will have none, or the unit will have not enough action points to attack after moving to this hex. Orange will have enough action points to attack after moving to this hex. Green, the unit will have more action points. Points then required for an attack after this hex. If a unit has entered the enemy's zone of control, the hex is nearby and any enemy will be marked red, as you can see here. He can move no further this turn unless he is free from zone of control. Basically, we're fighting orc archers, orc warriors, orc warrior. Yep. Action points. Action points usage: move +1 terrain penalty, if any, +1 if currently in zone of control. Attacks: moving object. Using skills, potions, launching catapult, opening gates by winch for facing rotation. Basically, you also go through all of this. This sounds really complicated. The game has a lot of mechanics, but when you basically get down to it, it's fairly simple. we'll say we take Roderick. Yeah, take Roderick. He has speed, which is basically your action point. I don't know. Okay, here we've got another thing. If the selected unit has enough action points of stamina for an attack, 3 points and 4 3 points of action and 4 points of stamina, attack markers are drawn on the units within range and line of sight. Attack marker, if the attack is fatal or scarlet, will be drawn to hit chance in percentages, the damage you will deal to that person and the range that you have. So hit chance modified by direct relative to the direction relative to the facing of the attacker as being attacked. Attacking from directions 1 confers no bonuses, directions 2. So basically if you attack from the side it gives you +1 accuracy, if you attack from the rear it gives you +3 accuracy, or if you attack from the flanks and you directly behind him it gives you +5 accuracy. If accuracy as attack equals evasion, the defender to hit chance is 50-50. No, it's 55%. Each 1 point is different in difference between the accuracy and the hit chance. To hit chance by 5% to hit chance no less than 10%. Okay, damage equals strength minus armor. Like I said, this game has like a lot of mechanics, and it's not going to be easy right away. Everyone has like evasion. Each point provides +5 chance to evade an attack if accuracy of an attack equals evasion points to hit chances 55%. Each point is different between blah blah blah. Right? Okay. You also burn action points in the if you basically dodge, you burn an action point to do that, so you can like eat through people's stuff. I know it sounds complicated, but we should get down to it. Right. Press space to begin. We're playing this on easy and just showing this up. On hard you have like a lot more enemies, but I thought I'd just literally show off what this game was basically like. So here we go. If we can move up to here, and we can move up to the yellow numbers, and we should still have enough action points to basically attack once. If you go into the red we won't, because that leaves us with only 2 action points. So let's move here. We can also turn the character as well if we want to by clicking on the ground for them to basically face in that direction, though it will take us an action point to do that. Move up here, we'll move our archers. See, he's still facing an axe, he's still facing this direction, that's good to know. I want him to face that way, see, and it takes us an action point. So we're going to be slightly flanked, but we were going to be flanked anyway. Get the archer up into a good position. See here, we've got a 65% chance to hit him and we do 4 damage as indicated by numbers. See, the bigger number is the percentage and the small number is your damage. So let's have a shot at him. We do 4 damage. He's got 20 health. He hasn't got very much armor. His range maximum, he's got a range of 6, so he will be actually able to shoot my guys next turn, which is going to suck. We've got a berserker, which is nasty. They also have abilities here, as you can see. Charge, unit moves to the enemy. So unit moves to enemy hex and attacks enemy in this facing hex with double strength. This game has a lot of nuance to it. I would really suggest, if you are going to play this, like, just play it on easy, take your time. This isn't something you can just jump straight into and expect to be good at. It is very, very hard. We've got hours of day. This will affect us as well. I believe, yeah, here we go. Vision, each hex has an illumination level. Illumination levels decided by the hour and overridden by the light source, campfires, fires, and illuminated unit abilities. There are 3 illumination levels: bright, shaded, and dark. Basically, depending on what your unit type is, if they're accustomed to fighting in the daytime, they'll get benefits of fighting in the daytime. If it's in like shaded, shaded confers a unit with either a day of vision, night, no bonuses, which is okay. If we have bright vision, we try and fight in the night, we get penalties, and vice versa. This game has a lot of mechanics. I'm not going to lie. You're going to have to try and get used to them. We can also, next unit with an action point, stamina to attack. Yep, you can see we're increasing the time. We have AI controlled units. Now it's our turn again. 70% chance to hit him. We can see 70% chance to hit him for 5 points. His morale is going down. It started at 50, now it's at 27. We missed, which sucks, because it gives that archer a nasty chance to shoot us in the back. We missed, which really does suck. I'm going to use all my action to chase down here. Missed. Ooh, that farmer got over-knocked back. He took a lot of damage. He's bleeding, which sucks. Bleeding unit receives 1 damage for the beginning of the turn, duration 3 turns. He's got to basically take 3 damage from that. So let's just keep killing him. Your units will level up on experience basis, so that's something that you'll have to watch out for. His stamina is decreasing, as you can see. He's starting to suffer stamina fatigue, which is nice because it means that soon he will run out of stamina completely and he won't be able to take attacks unless he rests. You do take a little bit of stamina back at the beginning of each turn. Ooh, they killed that guy. But we will also we are actually burning through our stamina quite rapidly, as you can see. We need to block him from getting off down here. Use all our action to move. Missed. That is a bit of a pain. He got us flanked there, which is not fantastic. As you can see, if they dodge, you basically, when you fire people with ranged weapons, if they manage to basically dodge, they will use an action point to do that, and that action point is taken out of their next turn. Now he's got no stamina in that, pretty much. It's basically, yep, as you can see, his stamina is really bad. It's almost gone, which means that we hit him. It will basically, it's not good. Having low stamina in this game is actually quite bad. Not only will you miss more often, you won't be able to do attacks and all kinds of lovely things. And also, just getting attacked reduces your stamina. These units, to be honest, the units here who do level up, you can replace them with new units. Ooh, that's not good. Well, at least we've got the archer pinned. Let's try and kill him. Ooh, the peasant's morale broke. Trying to... Ooh, that's not good. We're just literally trying to beat on this guy. To be honest, I do think they could have increased the damage in this game. You spend a lot of time just re-hitting the same buttons. As you can see, I've got a character and he's not doing hardly any damage. So it's not great, to be honest. The goblins, the orc's broken, he's probably going to try and flee next turn. Yeah, he's broken. He's taking a fatigue as well. But I'm not going to lie, the game could really do with basically having a way of speeding up combat. It's a bit slow. You spend a lot of time just basically doing this, which isn't a bad thing, but at the same time, it's... unless you're multiply ganging up on the same person... there we go. He's almost at action point as well, which means that he's going to have problems dodging. We killed him. I mean, it's a good game. I think Warbanners is a good game. It's a hard game, I'm not going to lie. Especially the side missions. I've played side missions in this where I've literally had my entire party wiped out. Got 62 gold. Everybody survived. Got a couple of kills, which is nice. We got a level up. As you can see, we can level up here. Yeah, basically, rule of thumb is you have potions and items which you can put into slots here. Everyone can use potions, everyone can use items. You can level up here, so let's see, morale is used for magical resistance. Actually is always nice. He's almost ready to go up. He's got command, which is always nice. So basically, yeah, you can put potions in. You can put all kinds of stuff in. These do unlock at later levels, and you can put like items up here. You get like one item per person. You can hire assistants, which give you buffs. For example, if you wanted to, we could hire her before the start. We could do Tisharu before the start of every battle. Set a fire on 20 hexes, and this would be a one-off cost that you pay. You have that ability for the rest of the game. Personally, I think this is quite a good ability because the way that light and shadow work in this game, having this ability is really helpful. So I'm going to hire her just to get it. You have some other people that you can't yet. Yeah, there you go. It's just the assistant. Before the battle, you can use assistant skills. Doing so, select the skill from the assistant's window with the left mouse button. Then click the left mouse button in the right place on the battlefield. Assistants can only be used within 3 hexes of the starting position. When battle starts, the assistant's window is no longer available. So basically, it's advised you use it, to be honest. You have all kinds of people. You have like Setsama, or at the beginning of the battle, kill a random enemy, which can be useful. You have Idiris. At the beginning of battle, all your playing units have received +3 to morale. There's all kinds of stuff that turns up. You can also hire more mercenaries if you wish, if you had the money to as well. Obviously you do have like a limit, a current maximum army size limit. I'm not a massive fan of this, to be honest. I don't like the maximum, minimum, or the maximum unit size limits in games. It's like, oh, you can only hire like 7 people. It's like, yeah, but I've got money, why can't I hire more people? Also, you have a karma bar. Your karma will change through various actions in the game. Right, we can buy a potion. I'm going to buy 1 healing potion. I'm going to go back to my guys, the Silver Griffins. Actually, I can't give it to anyone. That's going to be a problem. I'm going to give it to my hero. This is one thing I will basically say about this game. It's hard, very hard. The way the system works, unless you turn it off, is that if you lose people in your mercenary band, you can then resurrect them using money. The only people that don't do this are your named heroes, basically like Roderick, and some other people that may turn up at some point, which is that if they go down, they'll come back, but they will suffer a permanent stat debuff. Like their intelligence will go down in various bits and pieces. It's pretty bad. So if nothing else happens, just keep your hero alive, because you can resurrect everybody else without problems except your hero, which I always think is a bit strange, but nonetheless. Right, this is the world map. You can select a new mission on the world map. Do this, click left mouse button on the mission icon on the map. You can zoom to the map by scrolling the mouse wheel or page up and page down. You can move the camera on the world map by arrow keys or the mouse while holding the mouse wheel down. As you can see, this is the world map. It's a fairly large map. It basically looks like old medieval maps. To be honest, you've got medieval maps that were like this. You've got to remember that cartography is a relatively modern skill to a certain extent. And though stuff like latitude, was it latitude or longitude? I think it's that latitude was basically, to get an accurate map readings, you need to be able to accurately map longitude and latitude. And I don't believe it wasn't until like the 17th or 18th century that they had longitude actually worked out properly. I think before then it was a bit bit inaccurate. So the maps that you had from there are relatively, from the medieval period, are relatively not as accurate as they could be. See, for example, you wouldn't be able to gauge the distance between Khan Borham and Miststone, for example, on the medieval map. You know it was in like this direction, and you know features, but you wouldn't be able to actually gauge how many miles or kilometres it was. Right, destroyed farm. We should do this. 1 week ago, Roderick had fulfilled his childhood dream. He had formed a squad of mercenaries, the Silver Griffins. Now Roderick was canvassing taverns of Mistrum for recruits in the evening gloom. He selected only the finest physical specimens who he believed would follow orders. He was proud of his progress thus far. When he had coaxed his Silver Griffins out of another tavern, Roderick observed a bedraggled man staggering towards him. The man's clothes were torn, and he was kicked in by the stranger collapsed at Roderick's feet. In the evening gloom, the Maelstrom's residents gathered around. "Please help, zombies to the North Farm." The man spluttered. He pawed at Roderick's boots and fixed the mercenary with a desperate stare. "There are children there, please." With this utterance, the last ounce of the man's strength deserted him. He groaned and curled into a fetal position. Right. The Silver Griffins wanted a chance to prove themselves to forge reputation. Roderick steeled himself and led the Silver Griffins out of Mistron. They had approached the farm. The mercenaries could make out the shadows lurching between charred buildings in the pale light of the moon. Unpleasant sucking noises like boots being pulled out of the bog drifted across the night sky. Right, this is the pre-set-up phase. What are we facing? Yeah, as you can see, before the battle starts, you can place your units on the marked hexes. To place a unit, use left mouse button to select the unit, then click on the desired hex. To swap the position of the two units, use LM, left mouse button to select the units while holding down Control. Right. Personally, this is also something I'm not a massive fan of. I'm from the old school of turn-based strategy, which is that you'll have a line, and then within that line, behind that line, you'll be able to basically deploy your units wherever you wish. I'm not a fan of it going, oh, you have like literally 10 spaces to deploy all your units. Yes, we know about this. That's just a rotated facing thing, which you can do it in your movement. You can't do it before the game, though. I always found strange. Anywho, you can press Control and we can switch them over like this. Yes, we're now worried about illuminations. Basically, it's just what I was telling you, because we're in dark, all our guys are going to be taking stat hits because we can't see anything. So we're going to use these abilities here, which will help us light up. We can't go beyond this point here, but we should be able to give ourselves a nice little light buff, which will help. It lasts a preset amount of time, but now he's going to be suffering because he's going to be fighting in the gloom. And so we're fighting zombies. That guy's been eaten. Ghouls. Warrior unit wears off 1 extra stamina from enemy when attacking. Poison immunity. Executioner. All enemies lose 5 morale when unit kills another unit. Quick. Eviscerate. Afflicts bleed damage, which always sucks. What are we facing? Lots of zombies. Lots of zombies. Also, fires will spread, so if you set fire to this stuff, fire will actually spread all over the place, so just be careful of that. Right, we need to get up out of the gloom, because this is the only real advantage we have at the moment, is that we're going to be basically fighting these stuff in direct sunlight, in direct light, so light conditions, which means that he's going to be taking negatives. So we need to move out of the gloom as quickly as possible. He's got a polearm, so he can reach behind us, which sucks. But we get a bonus to hit him, because he's in the light, and thus he's taking negatives, as you can see here. He has Vision Night, so night units in day will have 2 to accuracy and evasion, so it suits us better to basically hit this guy And you can see we kill him outright. I'm going to slightly pull back because this guy can hit us. He's going to brace. And we're going to end our turn. The other zombies and stuff move up. And with this, we can now start hitting them. Going to keep blocking with this angle. Ah, missed, that's a shame. Right. I've put my character in a bad position, unfortunately. We need to get down here then. Everyone suffers from Deafening Roar, which sucks. Deafening Roar, what does that do? Yeah, basically stunned. All units receive -4 to accuracy and 4 to evade, -4 to evasion. His action points are almost worn out, so we're going to keep stabbing him. We need to attack this zombie because obviously he's going to be able to reach us from here, which is going to be a pain. It ate the body to regen. And our light sources are going out, which is bad news for us. So my plan is very, very simple. I'm going to set stuff on fire. Who's the other person that had some of these? You can actually set units on fire with this, which is nice. So we've got all these nice light areas now buying us some time, but we do need to kill this ghoul quickly. There we go. Dead ghoul. The zombie is on fire. He's burning. Burning all away. Completely burnt away. We need to get this finished. I'm pretty sure there's still a couple of ghouls left. Yes, there are. Okay. As you can see now, being within darkness, we're taking penalties to hit stuff, which isn't great. We need to kill these guys off quick. Also, potions are one-use items. If you fire through fire, you also get some nice little effects. Right, we're going to go here. We're going to end this quickly before our fire effects wear out. Hit him. Going to flank around, and he's going to stay here because these fires won't last long. Ooh, bleed. Right, we're going to use our archers to try and get rid of his action points. Yeah, you see the fires are starting to go out. So we need to really kill these guys quickly before they get the advantage of us, because they will get massive boosts once the light goes. Hopefully the fires will spread, which will give us a bit more time. He used one of his action points to dodge that. He used his other action point to dodge that, so he's got no more dodge left. Sorry if you can hear noise in the background. Right. We got 53 gold, and we got Stormbringer, which is a kind of bow. Very nice. Got got enough experience, we can get him some more health, some more strength. And this page here will basically explain the upgrade system. Units with enough experience can level up. You are offered 3 random choices out of the following: +3 to health, +3 to stamina, +3 to starting morale, +1 to strength, plus accuracy, +1 evasion, +1 to magical resistance. On level 5 and level 10, units offered new skills and abilities. There is no respect bar dismissal. There's no respect bar dismissal or death. Right. You just found an artifact. These items will boost attributes, giving abilities and skills. The unit must meet certain requirements to equip one, and only one can be equipped. The artifacts stay on units for any given battle. Transferring is only possible in the army camp. Unequipped artifacts are kept in storage but are not available to sell or purchase. But the Stormbow, one of your archers. So first off, our hero leveled up, so we can give him strength, which means he does a bit more damage, which would be nice, to be honest. Give him a bit more health, which is always useful, more morale. I'm probably going to do a health. I'm going to do damage. Evasion needs 0.5 to +5. Stamina's nice, actually. To be honest, I think stamina in this game is one of the most important skills, just because you go through it so much. Right, evasion, strength. One of the archers needs to get that. So, what else do we have? We can hire some other people. No, we can't. We can't hire any more people either because of our limited numbers, which sucks. This is the thing. I will say this. I'm not a massive fan of this level unit cap maximum army size, because this is not something that you get in real life. It's like, oh, you have a limited it's like, I've got money, I should be able to basically hire as many people as I want within reason. It's like, I can only lead 6 people. It's like, why? Why can I only lead 6 people? I mean, I don't know, it's just something that I find a bit frustrating about games like this. I'm going to save the game and we're going to jump back to the main menu, just so I can talk about some stuff. And we can't. Can we go back to the main menu? I don't think we can. Okay. That sucks a bit. I think we can't. Also, yeah. You have these bits here that you can fiddle with. I mean, to be honest, this game isn't massively complex option-wise, so we have no real issues there. I'm just trying to think about things to explain about this game. This game is challenging. I'm not going to lie. It's one of these games that you really need to read the manual. As you can see, you really need to read the manual for it. If you try and go into the game without really doing it, you can just about manage it. The game will give you a basic rundown, but it's hard. This is one of those games where you will make mistakes and you will have to learn them. There is a lot of information. It's a good game. There are issues that I have with it. I think it's far too hard, especially stuff like side missions. Side missions in this game are brutal. I mean, really brutal. I can show some of them off actually. Hold on, that's probably doable. Let's buy a couple of healing potions and give them to our more valued troops. But yeah, side missions are really nice. One moment, folks. Sorry about that, folks. Yes, this is we haven't got this. The problem is the side missions don't start popping up until after this one, but I can still show you it anyway. The Silver Griffin stood at a distance and stared at the burning corpses of the armed fortunate farmhands like ghosts. A fragile young girl emerged from the pallid light of breaking dawn. "Hello, what is your name?" Roderick said as he squatted down to meet the child's vacant stare. "Lisa, my brother and sister have been taken away." The girl's lip trembles, but she was in shock. Any tears that flowed were snapped by the heat of the fires. "Who took your brother and sister, Lisa?" Where did they go? Lisa nodded to the north towards the city of the dwarves. Broham, a hobble man and a bony people took them. She shuddered and then broke down, throwing her arms around Roderick's neck. Sobbing overcame her. You can't really, you have to do these first few missions. This is like when this is basically like the multiple choice element of the game creeping in now, where your decisions will affect your reputation, which is your karma, and certain units and people won't react to you, won't like you and won't join you or won't do stuff if your karma is too low, and vice versa. If he was commanding skeletons, Roderick summarised that the man must be a practitioner of the forbidden arts of necromancy. He was deciding who should escort Lisa to Modstrom when four zealous peasants armed pitchforks bounded up. We'll help you find the little ones, boomed the lead peasant. Being here can look after the girl. The peasant gestured to a weedy young man. Alright, we'll need everyone. You can leave people behind. Let's go with that. Fessel was the track of the Silver Griffins 10 years ago. He had been a poacher in the forest of the benevolent king of King Merovingo. Only a year ago, new poaching laws had made Fessel's life untenable. He had turned to being a mercenary. In the morning light, Fessel could easily see discerning tracks and footprints. They staggered and stumbled alongside assured tracks made by adult humans and at least a dozen skeletons. The silver griffins followed the prints. After 50 meters, the children's prints became more sporadic, as perhaps they had been carried. The trio headed towards Carnborham. The mercenaries laboured all day across gullies and over wooded hills. Exhaustion set in as the sun started to nudge against the horizon. We are all exhausted, we should rest for the night. The children are still in the clutch of the necromancer. We must push on through our fatigue. Every minute must be precious. This is the one issue that I have with this, is that if you go, oh, we're exhausted, we should rest for the night, your karma goes down, because like, oh, it's a bad thing. It's like, is it? My men can't, if we're like dead tired by the time we get to the fight, how are we going to save anyone? It's not being like evil, it's just being realistic. See, look, we're all exhausted, we should rest for the night. The children are still in the next month, we must push on through our fatigue, every minute is precious. Let's go with that. The Silver Griffins push on through the darkness. Thistle found increasingly difficult to follow the trail, but the cloudless sky offered some hope. It was as hopeless as too dark, we would make camp until morning. See, look, these are all like reasonable things, but if you do it, your reputation goes down. This is the issue that I take with some games like this, is that it's like, oh, like, unless you're zealously paladin good, where like you throw your people into massively risky situations without actually tactically thinking, your reputation will be affected. It's like, why? Which commander in their right mind in this time period is going to make their soldiers slog through the night to face an enemy that doesn't suffer from fatigue because they're undead, or have the risk of coming across them at night where we don't have any equipment to fight them off? At night. It seems a bit ridiculous, and it seems the game is a bit spiteful for doing it. It's a clear night, we should continue to shoot nearby, I can feel it. See, look, swordsman, health 1. Despite the moonlight, the pursuit was treacherous. One of the griffins slipped on a slimy outcrop and fractured his leg. It was bound at best possible, and the chase continued. Other than this instant, luck smiled as Roger's company, Fisco, spied the kidnappers within an hour. Settled in the bottom of a dry ravine, a man lay huddled in a worn cloak. A smouldering embers of fire illuminated his sleeping face. A ring of skeletons stood like statues a few metres away from the necromancer. In the midst of the circle, four children tossed and turned. And see, this is the issue that we have now, which is that we've rushed all the way through the night, and now our guys are absolutely dead tired and hurt, and it's night time. No one in their right mind would actually do this. No one who's actually led troops would do this, because unless the person you're trying to rescue is vastly important, like super important to your kingdom or the king, like unless it's someone who's like massively important, no one is going to basically risk their neck in such a poorly planned and dangerous scenario to rescue basically peasant children. I know it sounds horrible to say this, but this is like real life and not basically in a real life situation. you're a mercenary. I don't know. I just like it when games do the whole sort of like white paladin thing, where they sort of wave the flag of let's throw reason and tactics out the window for the greater good. It's like, but who does that? Who? I don't know. I find it a bit frustrating. From my experience with this game, I played about 8 or 9 encounters before I got wiped out. The game is hard, I'm not going to lie. Even on easy it's hard, especially the side missions, because they don't tell you what you're facing. So, or not even that, they don't even give you like a hint of what you're facing, so you can go in thinking you're fighting like a small group of bandits, like 6 people or something, and it's like literally 12, 16 units, and you're outnumbered, and they've all got abilities, and they're all throwing potions, because that's what happened to me, and that's how I died, which was that I'd taken a simple side mission to rest a group of bandits, and yes, I know, and the issue that I had, oh come on, oh it's here, right, okay, the issue that I had was that I turned up to do it, and they outnumbered me for a start, which in this game is actually really dangerous and detrimental, and every single person had some kind of potion, which is pretty OP in this game, where every enemy unit was like chucking like Molotov cocktails or poison or confusion, and they had like 2 mages in the back throwing off like fireball spells and lightning spells at a point in the game where you've literally only got 1 magic caster, and she's predominantly a healing caster. And the game, don't get me wrong, the game is enjoyable, but it's hard. It's very, very hard. It's very, very hard on easy. It's sometimes I think it's hard for the sake of being hard. There's no point in it being as hard as it is at some points. I know that sounds a bit sort of like, oh, it's Cornish-Knight complaining, but it's like, it's not. It's really not. The game is obtusely hard at some points, like giving every unit access to potions, which for the enemy units is fine because they're not restricted by cost or anything like this. But to your people, the potions may not seem expensive, but if you don't make much money and you have to revive people, you don't get many stuff like that, and then literally you can get wiped out in a single turn when an enemy, like when I was fighting the bandits, they had a group like here of like 6 people, and I had my battle line, we were about to do it on their turn. They spent the entire turn just chucking stuff at me, like poison, like confusion, like Molotov cocktails, freezing spells, like in bottles, just everything they had they were throwing at me, and it was ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous. And it's like, okay, I thought this was supposed to be about tactics. I didn't realise this was basically spam the magical potion button. I don't know, it's just something I find a bit frustrating. Right, so I'm not going to bother to show you this battle. It's I don't know, I mean, the combat in this game is good. It can be a bit tedious because like no one does much damage unless you're like a main character. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back, quit. The problem is I don't know if quit the game actually takes me out of the game completely, or takes back to the menu. They should have, to be honest, in the menu section, they should have in this button, return to return to the main menu, and and quit the game. Because if you have quit game, what does it mean? Does it quit to the main menu, or does it quit the game entirely? Right, so to sum up, Warbanners is a good game if you like tactics games, like turn-based tactics. It's a good game. It's very, very hard, almost too hard, I will say. In some areas, like how the AI will literally just constantly spam potions and stuff at you, especially on the side missions. The side missions in this game are very, very, very difficult, excessively difficult in some instances. And I wouldn't recommend playing this game on anything but easy when you first attempt it. It's quite a complex game. There's a lot of like nuance and mechanics that you need to learn, so I would recommend you read the manual before you go into the game. You can learn the basics of the game just by playing it, but you will get beaten up quite quickly if you're not careful. Besides that, it's a fairly good, solid turn-based tactics game. The story, from the story I've seen, it's a relatively straightforward story. The choices, as I said, I'm not a massive fan of like the choice mechanic in this game. The whole sort of like your karma is affected because you did not put all your men in like a grievous situation. It's like, well, no one in their right mind is going to do that. For peasant children, no one is going to basically risk everything on a situation where you could quite easily handle it if you were just a bit more careful. Because right now, I'm actually in a really bad situation. All my guys are massively fatigued. One of them's hurt. We're at night time, which gives these guys all the advantages. These guys don't suffer from fatigue at all because they're undead. It's a pretty bad situation, to be honest. It really is. So if we want to start, the AI is going to move up here because the AI is daft. And as you can see, the undead aren't affected by fatigue, so we're in a massive disadvantage. Plus, I will also add the AI, these guys aren't the smartest people in the world. They really aren't. So I don't know, I mean, this game has lots of potential, but there are some glaring issues that I have with it. I don't like the potion spamming that you get on a number of missions that I've been on. The potion spamming really winds me up. I don't like how the morality system in this game is obtusely, it's quite obtuse. It's very unrealistic. It makes you do stupid things that no one in their right mind would do. Like, oh, okay, we're going to charge through the night to fight undead at night because reasons. It's like, we have to save the children. It's like, yeah, but we're mercenaries. We don't have to do anything. It's like, oh yeah, then your honor rating is affected. It's like, it's just one of those tropes that pops up in games like this, which I find a bit frustrating, which is one of the reasons that I like games like Battle Brothers or Mount and Blade, where you don't have to actually do the moronically stupid thing to keep good karma. You can just act honourably. Because this isn't acting honourably, this is acting daft, in my personal opinion. But besides that, the game itself is a very solid RTS game. Graphics aren't really anything to read home about. It's a good game, a very solid game. Would I pay money for it? That's a hard question. I don't know. I don't think I would personally. If I'd bought this myself for the price that it's being offered, it's one of those hard cores. It has some really good moments, and I've enjoyed playing it to a certain extent. But there have been things that have really, really got my back up about it. Like, the companion AI in this game isn't fantastic. Like, these guys doing stupid things. As I said, the potion spamming is something I dislike. Plus, the whole morality system is a bit frustrating because it makes you do stupid stuff like this. So, overall, it's a good game, but it could be a lot better. Well, not a lot better, but it could be better. But it's a good, solid RTS game. If you want to play a good turn-based strategy game set in a fantasy setting, this is the game for it. I won't say it's as good as Battle Brothers, because I think Battle Brothers is better in some ways, better in a number of ways, I should honestly say. But it's a good, solid game, and one that if you enjoy the genres, you should check out. Just don't expect too much of it, because it is if you think you can just go in and wing it, this game will beat you senseless. It's a game that you have to learn to play. It's not easy in the slightest. Well, this has been my first look at Warbanners. If you have liked it, please press the like button. If you wish to subscribe, please press the subscription button. You can leave a comment, you can subscribe, or you can check me out on Steam, and I will get back into you next time. This has been Warbanners. I've been Cornish-Knight, and I shall see you all next time. Goodbye.